Good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock, and I call our June 1st Fannin Board of Commissioners teleconference open. I'm Stan Helton. Do we have Commissioner Patterson on the phone? Commissioner Patterson, are you on the phone, sir? On the line? Commissioner Johnson
is.
Okay. Commissioner Johnson's here. We do have a quorum. I'm certain Commissioner Patterson will join us as soon as he's available. One more call. Commissioner Patterson, are you on the line? Okay. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Calling here from the Fannin County Courthouse from the Commissioners Conference Room. I have County Clerk Sherry Walker, County Attorney Lynn Doss, Patrick Cook is handling our IT, and then Eddie O'Neill is here in the conference room with us for his presentation. First item is to approve the unfinished business from the minutes of May 26th workshop and May 26th regular Board of Commissioner meeting. Commissioner Johnson, please let me know, sir, when you've read and if you're ready to move forward.
I've read them and I have no objections, and I am ready to move forward.
Okay. Have a motion from Mr. Johnson to approve the minutes. I second that motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Minutes on.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Patterson, on now.
I finally got through. He's having some difficulty.
Okay. You had your opportunity to read the minutes, I hope.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, we've approved those, and moving on to public commentary. And what we're doing on teleconferences is asking the public and Fannin County citizens to submit their comments by 1 o'clock today to the county clerk. Ms. Walker, did you get any public comments?
None were available.
Okay. All right, we'll move on from public commentary to new business. Item number 2 is Eddie O'Neill, Director of Recreation. And Eddie, would you please present to us what you have on your schedule?
Yeah, I'll just do a quick update on what's going on right now. We are still opening the rec center slowly. It is open under the same restrictions. The only thing we have added is, as we have brought back the evening stuff, we are open till 9 p.m. Through the week under the same restrictions. We ask people to make reservations, and we control the amount of people that are in there. Summer day camp is started today. It's full. We are following closely the governor's guidelines for hosting a summer camp. So that has kicked off. As far as some of the other projects working, the bathrooms at Horseshoe Bend are now open. Those are complete. We've done some additional parking up at the rec center, filling in those drainage ditches that have been open all these years. We'll gain about 30 additional parking spots through that. So we are pleased with that, as well as the public. We would like to request our next SPLOST project. It would be a request to fix the drainage issues with Field 5, which is the largest field we have, catches the brunt of the erosion in the park. It's a constant battle and a constant kind of a money pit with infill mix being required all the time, bringing it in because the water washes ditches through the infill. So what we like to do is take that field down, shorten it, add drainage all the way around that field, replace it with black vinyl coated fencing. That field doesn't need to be as large as it is. It's 300 feet now. We'd like to shorten it, bring it in to 250 feet, which is as large as GRPA requires for the age groups we play. And that will also give us an opportunity to add another small softball/baseball field in between 5 and the existing practice football field. So the benefits there are obviously, 1, fix these drainage issues, and 2, it opens up some space for an additional field in the future. The total cost of that for the demolition, the grading, the drainage install, put the outfield back, the fencing, materials, pipes, all is a total of $173,170.77. So that's $173,170.77.
Commissioner Patterson, you have any comments or questions for Mr. O'Neill?
No, I've talked with Eddie, and I'm aware of the situation.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Johnson?
So we are going to be able to squeeze another field in between with the drainage work that's being completed.
Yeah, that'll give us opportunity by pulling that field in about 50 feet. I've had the engineer that drew this, Earl, I had him look at it, and he's actually kind of placed a field in there with about a 200-foot field or 180-foot field, which is plenty big enough for coaches pitch and girls fast pitch softball. And it fits between that field and the existing practice football field.
That'll be good, because that field catches every time it floods. That field is the one that postpones everything, it seems.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem child for sure.
So, I mean, I have no issues with it. I'm glad to be able to finally move forward and get something going down in the park.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Eddie, we have talked about SPLOST projects for the Recreation Department, and this proposal that you have here, you certainly have more than enough funds available right now to cover this. We have tried to take our SPLOST projects and reduce them to only those that are essential. And in looking at what you've had to do previously, every time we have a severe rain, you basically have to rebuild that field as it is now with new dirt, new grading.
Yeah.
It's an enormous effort to do that.
That's correct.
So this would solve that issue when you have that drainage all the way around. And as I recall, this was at this point this year when we were looking at SPLOST projects for the rec department. I believe this, of course, the restrooms at Horseshoe Bend, we've had that on there. And this would move up as we've completed the restrooms to your number one priority, I believe, that was needed for the recreation department. So this is necessary. It's needed. You have the funds to do it, and it's been planned out. You've been talking about this for a couple of years.
Yeah, at least 2 years. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And then what I really like is your plan incorporates the opportunity to add another baseball, softball field right behind it in the near future as you get back into these programs. So I don't have any further comments or questions on this. Commissioners, anything further before I call for a vote?
I personally think that it's and I think it'll answer a lot of questions. You know, since the SPLOST passed back in 2016, you know, a lot of people have asked, you know, where the funds were going to be used that were collected for recreation. And I think, you know, with the restrooms and the work we've already done, and once people see this project get underway, certainly all the people that are involved in softball, baseball, and soccer that have ever had to play down on those fields, I think it'll be a very welcomed sight to see the drainage fixed down in that low area, because it'll be a great field once the water is able to get off, and I think it'd be a good investment. And now's the time, once the money's there, and has accumulated, rather than spending the money before we had it, like some agencies tend to do. It feels a lot better knowing the money's sitting there to do this project before we pull the trigger and do it. So I think it'll answer a lot of questions. You know, a lot of people will see their return once the construction begins.
Commissioner Johnson, I'll ask if you're ready to make a motion that we proceed and approve this SPLOST project for $173,171.
Yeah, can we name the, I mean, who all's going to be involved in it?
North Georgia Grading will do the demolition. They'll do about all the dirt work. River City Athletic Fields will do the outfield work and the sodding. Cochran Fencing will do the fencing.
All right.
Anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the bid.
Okay. Commissioner Patterson makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, Eddie. Thank you, sir. Just one question. What is the time schedule for this work to proceed?
We hope to be started within 2 weeks on the demolition part. And then I'm guessing we'll probably be done around September, right in there somewhere. Depends on how fast North Georgia's the guy I'm waiting on is when he's ready to start. But Cochran's ready to start taking the fencing down in 2 weeks. So we'll be ready by spring baseball next year easily.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Eddie. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Eddie, could you go ahead and clarify, just for those who probably are going to show concern? I mean, this is a type project that it's kind of hard to find people to undertake because of all the particulars that are involved with the drainage and everything. It's not just coming out there and shoving dirt around and reworking anything. Can you kind of go into some of the particulars because I know that question will come up, you know, how it was derived, who and when and where, but it's kind of a more of a specialized project. Not everyone grades ball fields and not everyone prepares them. So if you could elaborate on that just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, of course, you're working with a flat field with the drainage will not have a ton of depth and it won't have a ton of fall. So we really had to find people with GPS that could work, you know, with the accuracy needed to do this, and especially in the outfield to get that graded, laser graded, where the water falls the way the engineers have drawn it, and then to come back after it's cut to the right depth and then add the sand and the sod back. So it is very tedious work, and it takes guys, you know, that really specialize in this type of work in ball fields. So it's a little different than just, you know, digging a basement or something like that. A lot more complex, and you really need guys that, you know, have GPS and it can do these stuff at proper depths.
Right. Yeah, because the last thing we want to do is spend all the money we spend on planning and preparing and having a set of plans drawn, and they not be followed and it not work. And it's kind of hard to do that by eyeball. So,
I believe you covered that one. Actually, we were giving you the authority to do the plans, that we have very limited people that could do this kind of work.
That's correct. Yeah.
To do that.
right.
It's not as simple as bidding out for a piece of equipment with multiple people.
And the folks coming in to do this work, of course, River City, that's their livelihood. That's what they do. And then the guys at North Georgia, they've done several ball fields in the past. So these guys have an extensive background in athletic fields, not just baseball or softball, but any type of athletic field. So we're very confident in their work.
Anything else on the ball fields, Commissioners? All right. Let's move on to item 3, which is decision on the employee health benefits renewal, which would begin July 1st of this year and run through the end of June 2021. Just to reiterate, we had a workshop back on May 26th that was strictly on insurance, and we had 5 providers that had programs presented to us. The benefit support, which is our current provider, had a one quote in for us, and their quote was for $2,779,637. Then, and this was a self-insured or partially self-funded account, and they did have some specific options. They call them riders or lasers, which is for high-risk potentials in the county. There would be additional cost, additional risk that the county would incur with that. We don't know what that would be, obviously. The second quote we had was from Anthem, fully insured through an ACCG representative, and the total cost was $2,743,497, and potential 3% discount off of that number if they gained our entire coverage with dental and vision insurance. Then we had United Healthcare. Their cost was $2,425,182, and they also had an option, which would be at the employee's choice, which would be at a less cost, $2,254,468, and again, a discount of 4% if they received the coverage for dental and vision insurance. We also had a quote from Aetna, and that cost was $3,097,168. And then we had another quote from Humana, which was partially self-funded. That quote was $2,558,360 with no discount, and also with those additional riders or lasers for individuals that were insured with potential high risk outcomes. So, Commissioner Patterson, if I can start with you, sir, and allow you to have your comments and thoughts on the insurance. We have quotes from 5 different providers, 2 that would be partially self-funded with the risk, also the potential reward if we came in under that, and then we had 3 traditional conventional quotes that would be for fully funded. So let me turn it over to you, if I can, Commissioner Patterson, for your thoughts.
Well, in comparing all those and looking at our situation as well, I did a little bit of a straw poll and talking to people about pros and cons of the present policy. And looking at, I feel like a fully insured would fit us better at this time. United Healthcare is very cost effective. It's got a real good price. And of course, price is not everything. I think it's a very reputable company. Covers claims well, usually good reputation there. I think the size, that they have good customer service. You can get a hold of someone, talk to someone. I also like their options. Option 1, option 2. We could give our employees either one of those. Very flexible, and they also like to try to encourage good health incentives, which is, I think, good for our employees to do walking and do other things that would give them some incentives and cut the price as well.
Okay. All right.
So I like United Healthcare.
Okay. All right. Any further comments, Commissioner Patterson, on that?
No. I just feel like that would be our best bet and give the most value to our employees at this time.
Okay. So the cost, you like the cost, you like the flexibility of having the two programs, and was there anything else about that United Healthcare that you liked as far?
Well, very reputable company. You know, it's one that's been there for a while, and you know, they have showed that they can cover claims well, and you know, I think they would be someone that we can always get in touch with customer service as well too.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's move to Commissioner Johnson and have Commissioner Johnson's input.
Now, United, who would be the actual agent? That's carrying United.
With carrying United would be the agent that we are working with at this time. That's offered, and oh goodness, it's
okay. So the man that spoke.
It's Mark Bailey, I think, Chairman. Isn't it Mark Bailey?
Mark Bailey was the representative with United Healthcare, and we would be working through the agency that we're currently working with now, offered in English.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, my only problem with that agent is the other night in the workshop, I left there more confused after they all talked about Fitbits and what one does and the other one doesn't do. And the part I really didn't like is the agent said he's been in this for 40 years and he's never had anyone complain. And that's kind of hard for me to imagine anyone in business. If you've been in business 40 years, you're going to have your fair share of complaints about, even if you're great, you're going to have a fair of complaints. I've leaned more towards the Anthem fully insured. One, I have prior experience with it. That's who we had before we voted to go with self-insured. They are more expensive, but as far as my opinion, I know what we would be getting if we had them, and it was quite a pleasant experience my first 3 years dealing with them. They are more expensive though, and that's something I'm always against, you know, trying to get more bang for the buck. But I know since we have switched from them, it has been every year, it has seemed to not live up to my expectations anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite a bit more money, but I know the service they gave the county when they were there previous was more superb than what I think that we could get out of the people that confused me the other night. I mean, they spent an hour and 15 minutes going back and forth, and you know, that there's an agent, then there is the carrier who would be United, and that's the other fellow, I can't remember his name. And what I like about Anthem, you know, is you usually deal with the same person, or the county anyway, as far as the county representatives deal with the same person if there are any problems or anything that pops up. I know they were easy to get in touch with before, but, you know, the reason why we switched from them is because of the price difference.
Mm-hmm.
So after these past several years of experience with fully insured, I definitely feel like we need to go with fully funded. That way the county's not basically rolling the dice hoping no one gets, you know, critically sick or ill.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need to be fully funded in our insurance no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably lean more toward the Anthem policy, even though it is quite a bit more. But it's just quite simply because I've had experience with it before. And when that fellow spoke, he only spoke for 30 or 40 minutes, and he was very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood everything he was saying. In other words,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't leave there confused. And he definitely didn't say he's had perfectly satisfied customers for 40 years. I just think that's a far stretch. But that's my 10 cents worth. So I would be leaning toward option number 2, and that'd be Anthem fully funded.
Okay. All right. All right. And looking at the United Healthcare program, they do have 2 options, which the employees would be able to choose. And the United Healthcare, both of the options they have are fully funded. They're not self-insured. So it would be an established amount that could be budgeted equally in equal installments each month, instead of being concerned about having a huge number of claims that would come in and run those numbers up. So the self-insured risk would be eliminated with United Healthcare. The other thing that I liked about United was the plan. The providers and the doctors seem to be very closely matched to what we have now, meaning that there would not be a lot of disruption with the employees having to go to different doctors, or having it should be a fairly close fit on that, which would reduce their confusion. The other thing about this is the option 2 for United Healthcare has a significant amount, about 7% less. And I'll look at that number again without it being additional discounted. The option 1 was $2,425,182, and the option 2 was $2,254,468, which would be a 7% reduction if the employees, which it's their option to choose which one they would go. And if we voted with United Healthcare, what I would propose is that we pass those reduced costs onto the employees. If they chose option 2 and the county is receiving a 7% reduction in that premium, then we could reduce the employees their weekly contributions, or the deduction that comes out, by that same 7%. What this would mean over a year's time, the family cost of the premiums per week is $75 a week, or $3,900 a year. And if they chose the option 2, we could pass that on to them, and it would reduce their cost for a family by $273 a year. Allow them to make that option according to whether they wanted the option 1 or option 2. And that's a pretty good savings for the county, and another savings for the employees if they chose to take that. So I'm pretty solid on going with United Healthcare and allowing the employees to choose which option they would want to go. So let me ask for some additional comments from either of you commissioners before we look at a motion to vote. And Commissioner Patterson, you have anything further on that, sir?
No, I think covered it pretty well. The fully insured is the way to go. I think with the risk, as both of you have voiced, I think we need to but with the cost, and I've had experience with United Healthcare. Actually, I have United Healthcare at the present time, and they've been a really solid company as far as coverage and claims and so forth. Not to with all the discounts too, I think it's a pretty good package.
Right.
That we could have with them for our employees.
Okay. Commissioner Johnson, any further thoughts or comments, sir?
I mean, I really don't have a problem with United Healthcare. It's just, I mean, to me, my real sticking point is the agents that represent them are a train wreck. And I mean, from my experience, now, I understand, you know, they didn't give me a lot of information other than talking about what all they could do or couldn't do with different companies. And I mean, you know, we all experience, most of us all have an agent that represents us, and someone else is actually insuring us. I think for a government entity that, you know, and I understand they do business with some other municipalities, but MSI, they you know, they're part of ACCG, and you know, I was actually, it was one of those decisions I made years ago to go to self-insured and get away from MSI Benefits Group, because I felt like they were overrated and they were overpriced. But being with them before and what we have now, it just, and it may not be the agent's fault. It may be the carrier we have now, which, you know, this year they're just as high as being fully insured, even though we would be partially insured or self-insured with them. So I guess for me, it's not the sticking point with me is just who would be representing us, you know, during the claims and during, you know, whoever's having to work with all these claims. I just want it to be an easy experience for all the employees, and not because you have a very, very valid point. I mean, when we went to this company with what was her name? BSI?
Yes. Benefits.
BSI. Benefit Support, yes. You know, a lot of people have to switch things around, and I'm in agreement. They probably don't want to switch things back around again and get used to a new policy. So I would hope whatever settled on this time, you know, I would hope the county stays with it for a long time.
Right.
And not be flip-flopping around, because we've experienced and we've dipped our feet in the water with fully insured, and my opinion is it's not paid off the way I thought it would be, because, you know, even before the two of you were there, you know, that's when we decided to swap over to self-funded.
Right.
And, you know, at that time I thought it was a great idea, and every year has proved me wrong. So I guess for the safety factor, in my opinion, I definitely want to be fully insured, and definitely want to be with somebody I've had history and experience with. So that's about where I'm at.
Well, both the Anthem and the United Healthcare are the conventional, traditional, and we certainly would get away from that risk that really concerns all of us. So either of those two would certainly eliminate that risk factor. So,
right.
Commissioners, we've had a chance to look at this, and we've had almost a week to look into it and hopefully discuss it with any of the county employees that have had some concerns. So unless you have any further thoughts, I'm going to ask for a motion for your choice on which program to go for the 2020 through June 30th, 2021 insurance program. So I'm ready to take a motion from either of you on which plan you want to go.
I'll make a motion to accept the United Healthcare package insurance program for this year.
Okay. I have a motion on the table to accept the United Healthcare through English and Offered Agency. I have a motion. Do I hear a second? I will second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay. Motion carries Helton and Commissioner Patterson in favor, Commissioner Johnson opposed. Okay, gentlemen, thank you for that. That's tough and important stuff for us to go over, and I sure appreciate all the time you guys have spent on this. Any further thoughts? Anything, Commissioner Patterson, at this time?
I've got just a commissioner comment. I know there's been a lot of talk lately about the annexation and going on. I just like, and I realize there's a town hall meeting, I think, supposed to be tonight. Try to keep an open mind with this. I've heard, a few people for, but a lot of people against. I just wanted to say that seems like there's some friction and discord with the information you hear and so forth about the council, and I just, regardless of that though, I just feel like that it wouldn't be the right thing, and my statement is still going to be the same as far as opposing the annexation at this time. I don't see it, and looking at it, that it would be the right time for the county to do so, and I would, if you guys want to have a comment, you can do it as well. But I just wanted to say at this time that I have not changed my opinion on the annexation issue.
I have no comment on that. Commissioner Johnson, any final thoughts from you, sir, on any subject?
No, not really. I mean, Commissioner Patterson, speaking of annexation, I mean, it'd be kind of hard for me to oppose or support anything because I have no idea what's being proposed. So it's it's one of those deals up in the air. You hear a lot of things, but
right.
I think to any of us seeing anything on paper or in black and white, it's going to be hard for any of us to come to a conclusion of anything. And still, that cart's still way before the horse, in my opinion. So that's my comment on that whole situation.
Okay.
I don't think the cart can even see the horse, honestly.
Okay. All right. I have just a couple of comments on another subject, and it's basically, of course, the COVID situation. We're sick of hearing that word, obviously, and we're all anxious on seeing the impact, the economic impact of that for Fannin County. We're just starting to see some of those numbers. And for the month of April, for just that month, we had an overall drop of about 15% on the local option sales tax receipts and for the SPLOST receipts, about 15% for the month of April, which was a tough month. The good part of that is year to date, January through April, we're slightly ahead of the previous year for our lost and SPLOST collection. So we had a pretty good buffer surplus buildup, and that with April being what we had to deal with, we certainly lost our buffer for that. We don't know for sure what May numbers are going to be yet. Hopefully better than April. Now, a couple of other numbers, unemployment statistics. If you go back to the first of the year, January, February, Fannin County was holding in there at this 2.6 to 3% unemployment rate. And these statistics provided by the Bureau of Labor, Department of Labor from Georgia and sent to us through the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission. At the end of March, our unemployment had jumped a little bit. I can't even say a jump. It went from that 2.7, 2.8% up to 4.3. Well, we have the April numbers. I just got those today. And in 1 month, the unemployment rate in Fannin County jumped from March 4.3% to April 9.4%, which is I mean, that's more than double. If you look at the 16 counties that make up the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission, the lowest unemployment statistic was Dade County over near the Alabama line with 7.7%. The second lowest unemployment rate was Fannin County. You had counties like Whitfield and Murray, our neighbors just to the west, they had unemployment rates of 20%. And south of us, Gilmer was 10.9 and Pickens 10.7. So that certainly is a painful number. The whole region is suffering that right now. And I'm looking forward as things open up on a smart basis in our county that we'll start seeing some more positive revenue numbers, and certainly hoping that unemployment statistic starts going the other direction, because we, you know, as fiscal managers of the county's $28.5 million budget, we obviously are the stewards of this, and we'll have to really pay attention to these numbers as we go forward to make sure that we keep the county whole. So, Commissioners, I have no further comments, and at this time I will ask for okay, let's see. And I guess I need to mention that we voted that today's teleconference would take the place of our scheduled June 9th Board of Commissioner meeting. The next one that's actually on the schedule would be for the end of the month, the 20, is it the 23rd or 28th?
Maybe the 28th.
Just a moment, we'll have that date. Sorry, I should have had that right in front of me.
It'll be the 28th.
The next,
No, the 23rd, I'm sorry.
the next scheduled meeting would be Tuesday, June the 23rd. And if we have a number of items that need to be addressed, we can call a special call meeting here to address those items. But again, that's why we're having the meeting today, would handle the business needed. Commissioners, at this point, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment. I ask for that motion.
Make
Make
a
a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
Okay, I heard a first. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Commissioners, thank you.
Uh,
Thank you, folks, for listening in to our teleconference. Have a good evening.